Well, hello, friends. Here we are again in the Oneness Project. Our small pocket of friends that like to watch this all the time. We love you guys. Uh, I, I, I hope you're sending this out to more people and introducing people to this fine message because it's so awesome. I just love it, and I hope you. And if you do too, please send it out. Subscribe and the bell and all those things like that. Send it to your social media people. Let's get this. I'd like to see some people hearing this and that haven't heard it before. Maybe think we're going to hell or something or whatever. I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. But today, that sort of
That's
segues
what
into what.
everyone.
What's that?
Sure, I'm here. I
Yeah.
think you forgot to tell everyone I'm joining you today on
Yeah,
audio.
yeah, of course. Yeah, Sharon is here, of course. She likes to stay on the audio, and I appreciate that. So, what we generally do here is we talk first, and then see where the conversation goes, and then as soon as we hit on something, we go, let's talk about that. And what we want to talk about today is is this message of oneness? Can it is it religion? Or what separates it from religion? What is religion? Or and I got to thinking about it because I personally came to this message through Christianity, which obviously is a religion. Uh, to define religion, I mean, atheists would say that any idea of God is a religion. Period. Simple as that. And I guess if you look at the actual the definition of religion, you can come to that conclusion as well. However, I think most people would agree that religion is an organized concept of thought that has been put into a box that has boundaries that people go to provide structure to their lives. Maybe not completely that, but that's the way I always viewed religion to be. Put down in the comment section if you disagree with me. So
Mhm.
anyway, after Christianity, I went to a place called the Center for Spiritual Living. Wonderful place of new thought and ability to look beyond, and they did accept so many different ideas in their messages. Um, with that came a class that they had that they based their messages on, and said that it was like it was the thought or the doctrine or way of thinking that they stamped their religion on. So I thought, oh, this is so fascinating. I'm going to go check it out. So I went and took this course. It's an incredible course that basically brought me to this oneness message and pretty much teaches this oneness message through this. There's all variations of this, by the way, in a lot of ways, but the heart of it usually is the same. And through it, I came to realize that what was actually happening on the podium in this place was not actually a lot of what I learned through the teaching of Science of Mind. His name is Ernest Holmes. The book is called The Science of Mind. He's got a few other books as well. Highly recommend you check it out. It's fantastic. There's another fellow that we post in my the Oneness Project on Facebook group that I have a lot, named Alan Watts, who came to this concept through more of the Buddhist faith. But the question I have of this, what I found is I just can't see how this can be put in a religious structure that we could put it in a podium and say, okay, this is the structure we're following. Come in here to find your peace. As soon as we do that, I think it's next to impossible to keep to be in peace. But I'm just kind of rambling here. I'm going to go to Sharon and see if she can kind of color this up a little bit in a way you understand, because I don't know if I'm getting to a direct message here. So Sharon, what do you see about this?
Well, I agree with you, Steve, that it, I don't know how, if there is a way that you could form religion out of the oneness idea. Because the idea that we are one, or the oneness idea, is an all-inclusive idea. And religion, on the other hand, is an, has to have, like you said, boundaries, do's and don'ts, and opposition involved in it in order for it to be a religion. You have to be religiously um, adamant and adherent to a certain set of ideals. To me, that's religion. But in the oneness, all ideals are incorporated. All things are incorporated in the oneness. Duality, there's a place for that in the oneness idea. And good and evil, that the idea or the concept of good and evil, there's a place for that in the oneness idea. So no, I don't think there is a way that a religion could be formed around the idea. However, maybe what we're doing here on on these broadcasts could be considered something we're doing religiously, and in that sense, it could be a religion, but it's not the typical idea of religion being um, being adherent to a certain set of values or ideals. No, it wouldn't work with oneness. So is that what you were kind of trying to get at, or do you
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a good way, another way, or a good extension of what I was saying. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Um, you brought up a good point. Is like the contrast. There seems to be in everything a yin and a yang, or whatever. Um, I found that where I was going, that what they started to get, it's inevitable to go to the do's and don'ts. I think that's just the way to look at it, right? It just seems to work that way. When we try, when a community is try to build a community in a sense of the concept of God that will connect with each other, it seems inevitable that do's and don'ts are going to come out. It just seems inevitable. And the oneness concept really isn't about do's and don'ts, as they're all part of the one mind. So it's it would almost be
Yeah.
interesting to see what would be produced out of it. But I don't know. Maybe it's here. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is what's happening right now. It's like a form of religion, I suppose.
Yeah, it could be conceived that way, I suppose. But so the oneness, for example, how do we incorporate the idea of duality into the oneness concept? We do that by understanding that it is the one being who is in existence. There's only one being, and this is the one being that created duality. So therefore, you can't say duality is not important, or duality doesn't exist, or duality shouldn't be the way things are. No, it has to be accepted as it is. I always say, now that I understand oneness, my mantra, I have two mantras that I go to I work with every day. One is all is well. 3 words, all is well. In other words, everything the way it is right now, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, is okay, just the way it is. All is perfect. And people who have near death experiences and is able to escape the boundaries of our physical body and can get into the higher dimensions of mind, they will come back and tell us, many of them have come back and told us that all is well. Okay. But somehow, once we get back into the narrow, constricted feeling of being in a body, we get back into the duality, the feeling of duality, and all of a sudden, all doesn't appear well anymore. But the truth is, all is well, and we're experiencing duality, and we're experiencing a feeling that all is not well. And when we experience that feeling that there is something about life that needs to be fixed, we should act on that. There's nothing wrong with that. Go with whatever impulse comes to you. That is the message of the oneness. That even your impulse, whatever your impulse is, towards the negative or towards the positive, be that, do that, because every expression is valuable and all is well. So, how do you form a religion around something like that? I don't know. It'd be hard.
Uh, I don't know either. I guess like you said, we're sort of maybe doing that here in a sense, because if we if this brought a following, I suppose now in the mind has created a mechanism where it's possible, except there simply wouldn't be structure. It's simply a message that goes in the ether, as we like to say. In fact, the Bible talks about it a lot. It talks about something called the Word, which was the Logos, which came from Socrates and philosophers such as that, realizing this concept of some sort of message in the ether that is, right? And that's really what it is. So trying to put it in a box and put do's and don'ts on it is next to impossible. It's I don't know if because I think one of the big things is in a religion that has building and stuff like that, you have to be financially viable. And this is basically how I don't think we could do that. As soon as you tried to put a financial structure to it, it then creates a structure that you almost are forced to appease those that are becoming part of the structure. And as soon as that happens, I just don't see the oneness message can be spread is going to be spread very well. It just seems that it'll kill itself before it gets started.
Way. You'd have to get back into duality to form a religion and make money off of the message. You can't take the oneness message in its purity and form a religion out of it. I was trying, as you're talking, to play devil's advocate in my own mind, and trying to, which is the one mind. Don't just completely ignore us when we speak as if we're separate, because we know that we're not, but this is how we do in our physical form. So I was thinking that how, if I were listening to myself saying that the oneness message is an all-inclusive message, how if I were listening to it as an opponent, as someone who doesn't agree with that, what would I come back with as a response? Well, I could say that you are being religious about the idea that all is one. So yes, you're religion. You're a religion because you're religiously promoting that. So in that sense, yes, but I could always again come back and say, but my religion accepts and includes your idea that that this is a religion. You
That's
see what I'm
right. Yeah, sure. You can call this a religion, and I'm perfectly cool with
exactly kind of,
that.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
whatever you want to do, we're cool with that.
yeah,
And what true religion or the normal religion, what religion actually can say that?
yeah.
None that I know of.
What
Whatever you do, we're cool with that.
what religion is totally cool with those that are that that like that say they're inclusive are also cool with those that are uninclusive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there's no line there. The uninclusive individual or the inclusive individual, we're all created of myself. So I created the in inclusive and non-inclusive. It's yeah, that's it. And now this is where the paradox comes in. Just what I said right there could be considered a religion. So,
Exactly. You know, I think, Steve, that the best that we can do is accept things as they are. Accept that there is both oneness and duality.
yeah,
We're actually a two-part being. We're both dual and one at the same time.
yeah,
Because in the flesh, we have to we are experiencing life in the flesh in a dualistic way.
yeah,
And once we accept that, we can go about life forming, excuse me, forming religion, doing all that we do, creating politics, creating enemies. We can do all of that in our flesh. But the beauty about the oneness message, as we have said before in many of our videos, is that we can come back home. Home
yeah,
being to the oneness, the idea that we're just acting in duality, acting in our flesh, creating enemies, believing in good and evil. We're doing that while at the same time we know how to get back to peace.
yeah. And
Right? And peace
that's a
lies
great point.
in one.
That's an
Yeah.
awesome point. In fact, I will even go as far as to say that in this oneness message, I value duality as well
Exactly.
as the oneness. I value both. I live my life like we've said before. I say they or you or what have you all the time, and I value that.
Exactly.
I
Right.
value the point that I am able to express compassion for something separate than myself, even though I know that it's not. It's
Right.
That's the whole point. We created this for relationship, and in relationship, the appearance of separation is we've created this concept that the appearance of separation is necessary. So living in that separation is fantastic. It's beautiful, and sometimes it feels not so fantastic. But I think when living in the one understanding oneness, what happens is when I feel that not so fantastic, I realize that it's a contrast to the fantastic, however you wish to describe that, to the elation or all these wonderful feel goods. So it's
Right.
I'm closer to home. I love the way you put that. I'm closer to home in the oneness message all the time. So I'm able to experience the the creation of separation and
Mhm.
able to realize the truth of oneness. So we're in and out and experiencing
Yeah.
and enjoying and imagining and
Yeah.
creating our reality, which is what the one mind really is doing. It's like a palette, painting a palette of our lives for creation, for constants, for constant relationship. And that really is what God is.
And it's really, the truth is, Steve, it's about having fun. Okay? the one being in existence wants to be happy and have fun. It's who wants to be miserable? No, the one being does not want to be miserable. So this whole thing is about enjoyment, enjoying who the being is, which is you. Okay. So, how do you enjoy right now in this life? You enjoy games, movies. Okay. Even when you go to a movie and you get so involved in the movie that you will cry. It'll bring you to tears. It'll make you happy. It'll make you sad. You go through a variety of emotions when you're engaged in watching a movie. But nevertheless, you're just watching a movie, but you can still experience the emotions. And then when the movie's over, you enjoy, you go, oh, that was a fun experience. Well, this is kind of what the oneness does for us. When we go into duality, okay, we experience it, we cry at times, we get mad at times, we fight our created enemies. We do all of this, but then when it's over, we're back to knowing who we are and what this is all about. That's the only missing piece in, I would say, most of humanity right now, is that they're in this movie or playing this game, however you want to put it, but they don't realize that that's what's happening. They think it's the only reality, when the reality is that they're only playing a game, and we're all one. They're the one player. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, as Ernest Holmes said, that we created this reality. And what we do is we also learn the power of our creation. We can create a different reality than we have created at this moment. We have that ability in us because we are the one that created everything in front of us.
Now,
Um,
I'm glad you brought that part up, Steve, because this is what I say. I think it's you or someone else that asked me once. So, okay, now that we know we're one, so what? You know, Life gets boring after this? And my answer is no, no way. Because now, now that we know we are the one that created all of this, we are playing with ourself. We have to now figure out what we did. We have to try to remember that. Okay? And we have to know how we created this game. And just that curiosity of knowing, how did I do this, is going to take us a very long time. And um, learning how to manipulate yourself, your mind, so that you can manipulate your environment will take a long time, but it is a wonderful thing. It's our creativeness that we're going to be able to explore now, rather than our ability to create, rather than spending that energy on figuring out how to earn money to eat and to have
our mind
shelter.
has created it to be like a discipline, but it's a discipline that sort of rolls. Once we start seeing it, and we'll get into this next time, synchronicities. We seem to be able to create these synchronicities that give us confidence to know that we are actually creating this reality.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that the more I discipline myself towards it, I meditate towards it, and one day I'm going to learn how to do these meditation videos. I think I'm going to start doing them, but I do them to myself. And until then, we have a wonderful man named Dr. Joe Dispenza. Highly recommend you go check him out on YouTube. Just even if we do his morning and evening uh,
It is.
meditations, it's all about creation of the reality that you have in front of you and living in what your mind has created as to be a desire for you in the now, and living in that emotion now. And it's unbelievable. I'm seeing huge benefits in my life because of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a whole that's what happens once you know you are the creator, you are the one. The
Mhm.
next the next stage from there is to now know how to use your creative power, how to
Right.
utilize it to bring yourself joy. And don't worry about bringing others joy. This is another subject for another day. We touched on that a little earlier, Steve, but the whole idea is to bring yourself joy, making yourself happy, because you're the only one in existence. Everybody else is a projection of who you are, an image of yourself. So make yourself happy, and by default, you'll be making your images happy, whether you can see it immediately or not. That's how it works.
Yes. And as well, you just said don't worry about others, but in this happening, it just seems to be that the mind goes towards a compassion. That's the reason why I did this video, do these videos, is that in coming to my own peace through this, it seems that I want to send this out to the other consciousness that I've created to have the peace as well. That's the best way I can put it. Another way that we do that is through a healing. What do I call it? Ministry? I don't call it a ministry. Anyways, my wife and I provide help with healing, helping ourselves heal. And if you're ever interested, you can go in the comment section. If you have physical pains, anxieties, depressions, all of those sort of things like that, we provide help for helping ourselves become the healers that we are, and also sending healing energy to the other consciousness around here. So feel free to do that as well. This was a fantastic message. I didn't know where we were going to go here, and I'm gonna have to watch this again myself, see exactly what we said. There's so much stuff impacted and everything that we talk about, Sharon, and I just love your viewpoints. It's fantastic. For all of you out there, I hope you're getting so much from this as we are, and if not, oh well, we are. That's the main thing. But yeah, hit the subscribe, hit the like, comment down on the bottom, spread this around, and we're going to do some more of these, I'm sure, because we seem to keep on doing them all the time. I hope you're on your edge of your seat for that. Say goodbye, Sharon.
Bye, everyone.
Lots of love to
Bye
you
bye.
all out there.
See you next time.